It has been a while since my last Q&A, and I'm really excited to answer these questions. It's always strange typing back to people when I just want to talk about the stuff. So I'm just going to get right into it. Okay, so the first question just jumps right into them. So the person's asking, have I ever had a low period in my life? And if so, how did I get over it? How do I relax and switch off? Starting thing is low period. I'm kind of in a constant low period. I have my mind is just a battleground all the time with depression and negative emotions and shit like that. I'm constantly dealing with those. So the way that I get over it is I just kind of get stronger because I look at it as that stuff's not going to go away. I just have to really, really spend a lot of energy on myself and getting better and making parts of my life that make that stuff kind of become a dwindling thought in the background, such as meditation or working out or just in general, just I need to embrace the fact that I'm introverted, and if I start going out a lot, then it just makes me really unhappy. So I just have to understand myself, and that's what I do. Will I make an updated wardrobe? Yes, actually, I have some stuff. A good 5 to 6 episodes on clothing and style coming up very soon. I'm not sure how I want to film them, but the concept and the writing is kind of done. What advice would you give through a slump in your life, even if you're a hard worker and you hit a wall? It kind of goes back to the first one a little bit, that you just kind of have to get to know yourself and understand what does make you happy. However, that's obviously not enough. I think that it's really important to make comfortable big jumps. And sometimes that's just like a little bit of a setup. And then you do this enough, it becomes a habit and a more efficient way of dealing with it. So, for instance, like a basketball player, if they're doing a free throw, they condition themselves with a pattern of a dribble, dribble, throw, or they do a dribble, dribble, touch something, and then they throw. They just have this like little routine. And every single time they do this, their brain starts to understand this is what's going to do, it's going to whatever, and it improves their free throw because they have this little routine. So I have my life, I try to build my life into a certain routine so that I wake up, I do this, and I go to the gym. And the gym is like, I love it, but it's also a thing that takes a lot of energy. So that's kind of what I do. First thing in your mind when you wake up is meditate. I got to get to that meditation pillow as soon as possible because I want to wake up while I'm meditating and clearing up my mind simultaneously. It's probably the easiest way to wake up, and I'm going to make a whole video on waking up early and everything like that. Minimalistic setup on my phone. It's coming really, really soon. There's a lot of videos I really, really want to make, but I mean, I have other stuff going on in my life, so yeah, it's a little tricky there with getting the videos out as fast as I really want to make them, how many ideas I have. Skincare, what do you use? I did make a video before, which I deleted now at this point. I used to use this Paula's Choice skin thing, but now there is no skin care exactly. Basically, I have switched over to far less product and cold showers. I've been doing this for a good 6 months, and my skin cleared up. I'll get into that a whole nother episode. What wallet do you use now? I use this little guy. Let's see. It's just a big thick elastic, and it holds my cards because I was using the clip and I thought it was the best, but it really had some issues. It would rip money when I tried to do it, and I never fell apart. Like, things didn't fall off of it. It was just kind of cumbersome when I wanted to add a card or take a card or add cash. It was the cash part that was throwing me off. So this one, I really recommend it. It's only like $8. I'll throw a link in. And actually I'll make a whole video on it eventually. But it's so perfect because you can fit like a good I don't know, what, 20 cards or something? Or like I have like 5 or 4 cards, however many it is. And like it's great because if I just get a gift card, boom, it just goes boop. And it's super tight and super small. Okay, who inspires me the most? I think that that's a tough question. And I think I'll have to answer that. I'll be answering that over and over and over again because I am in the works of looking at doing a podcast. So that will include my inspiration, things that excite me. The podcast will be about things that just make me happy that I just want to talk about. And that's going to be a lot of art and creative things because I really need a sense of media that I create that actually is in line with things that I actually care about and that I do for a living. And I need to promote my production and my creativity. So that's going to be the podcast, and that's going to be pretty awesome, I think. But I got to look into the actual hosting of the actual files, and I don't really know anything about that. So if you guys have any ideas of what's a great podcast hosting website, like where you upload, I don't know anything about that part. So yeah, throw any recommendations in. My design process for motion graphics and what advice if somebody's interested in the field and what's my next move. Again, I think I'll have to talk a little bit more of those in the podcast, but I will quickly answer, which will be my process for any design starts with why and starts with what somebody's saying. As much as I love flashy graphics and VFX, I think people use them in the worst way. I think that sometimes you're just better putting up a static image and fading it on. You don't need the fucking letters to be like, blah, 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 and like have it turn into sand or something. Like, that's just stupid. I think it just really comes down to taste and what you're trying to say. And I think that's what separates me. It's because I feel like I just can push the ball towards something that makes more sense instead of trying to make better graphics. Okay, so this next question is basically somebody asking, what do I like talking about? And the questions I like getting. And usually it has to do with anything creative. Create this, like production, even if it's minimalism, like what methods that I go about things. But generally speaking, it's like creative, art, graphics, film, all that stuff. Basically, just think of movies and what parts of that. That's what I think about all day. That's what I love. Do I like jujitsu? I do like jujitsu. I did BJJ for like 3 years, 4 years. Not that good at it though. I'll get into that in another one. But it's awesome. I love it. Where does your enjoyment and joy come from? Is it a decision or something that comes from your environment? I think that it's a decision. I mean, literally, the thing that makes somebody happy is their thoughts. It's not a thing that is true. It's how they perceive the world. So you change how you perceive your world, and you work on it, and make intentional new beliefs, and you realize that you can develop joy. Now, joy, I think I might add, is not happiness. And I also don't think that happiness is the most important thing as well. So it's kind of a complicated issue when you start talking about joy and happy and feeling. I try to break it down to more logical because that's the only thing that you can measure is how much work do you put into your emotions is how much you get out. And meditation is my preferred method. Okay, so the next question is basically somebody saying that they've made a lot of choices and was wondering if things could be different and if there was a point that I wish I had done things different. Yeah, I mean, yes, I kind of get frustrated when people are like, oh, no, I would never do anything different because that wouldn't be who I am. Like, yeah, I learned in hindsight is 2020. Like, I would definitely do a lot of things differently. I think that's silly to think that like everything went perfect and you don't have any regret of like the way things went. Like, yeah, man, shit sucks sometimes and things were harder than they needed to be. I could have, if I was smart or more aware enough at certain times, I wouldn't have done, or I would have done certain things. Yeah, but in particular, I mean, I think it really revolves around the topic. But there's lots of things, lots of stuff. What gets me excited in life? Film and production and just creating anything, really. Even if it's photography or just color and, organization, like to design, basically. I love all that stuff. That's what I love. Design, art. My physical stats, I am 5'5", 5'6", depending on the day, and right now I'm 150. I lost some weight, so I'm like 154. I was sick for a bit, and I actually lost like 8 pounds of muscle and fat to like combined, like to about 8 pounds. And it sucks. I would love to share some of my lifting stats, and thank you. But my lifting stats are, like I said, I got sick. I was actually out of the gym for about a good 30 days. I just got back today, and I lost a lot of strength, sadly. But when I get those back, I'll be excited about it, and then I'll be talking about that. It's going to be pretty cool because I'm pretty proud of some of them. What sort of tattoos do I have, and when did I get my first tattoo? I got my first tattoo when I was 30, believe it or not. And I like a more illustrative tattoo. I think it's more in the artistic type of tattoo. It's not a tattoo of a tattoo style like the bold and traditional. However, once I filled up with quite a bit of an illustrative, as if somebody drew something on a piece of paper with more fine ink or fine lines, I started to gravitate towards more traditional. Either way, I have a couple that are in color, but I hate color. I loathe color so much on me. I like it on other people. It's like clothing. I don't really like to wear a lot of loud colors, but I don't mind them on other people. What was my ambition when I was younger? And it was basically find a way to make movies or play video games somehow for the rest of my life. That's kind of what my goal was, because I like that kind of stuff. I don't know why it's so crazy. I get to do a lot of it. I just don't play video games. But I'm pretty sure that in the post-production world, and I'm diving into a real-time production right now, that the video games are going to be something that I might end up in I would say maybe, I don't know, I'm not really sure, but I see it on the horizon, like peeking its head up. Am I religious, or thoughts on religion or spirituality? I have a rule in life in general, is never talk about politics or religion. And if I had a family, I would never talk about my family or parenting specifically. I think those three things are just too personal to talk about. It's pointless, I feel. So, yeah, I'm going to move on from that. How did I grow such a manly beard, and how much time did it take? I think in that video, it was about 3 months for that length. Like, this is like, if I shaved, I would have this in about 3 months, maybe 2.5. It's kind of long. It's kind of annoying. I fucking hate this right now. I gotta cut it. As a foreigner, are there regulations in getting a job in New York or the U.S.? If so, would it be worth it to live there? I don't know anything about that stuff as far as getting a job and so on. However, New York is accepting of everybody. It's amazing. Everybody here is the nicest people you will ever meet, despite what weird things are out there saying people are assholes. They're so nice, and especially if you're doing something career-based versus just getting an ordinary, I don't know, let's say like a clerk's job, like you're going to get a lot of community, and in the community, I think that New York is really one of the most supportive places I've ever seen. So yeah, it would be worth living here. Also, I do recommend you have to enjoy the idea of living in a city, because it's tough, at least for me. If I weren't a YouTuber, what would be my dream job? Well, first of all, I'm not actually a YouTuber. I have a YouTube channel, but I definitely am not a YouTuber. I don't make any money off of this. Like, I never have. And it's funny, actually, that people think that I'm a YouTuber, but that's not the case. This is just like, it's more like a place where I just create a lot of stuff and I put it online, and I think some people share like-minded interests, and that's what it is. And it's not this thing. It's a thing I think about, like I think about design and film. But anyways, my dream job is to do everything that I'm doing right now. Just create. I just want to create stuff, specifically video stuff. I just love to polish something to be so beautiful and evoke things, whether it's hidden or not. Like it's so cool to craft something, and it can be frustrating because people can't appreciate every part of it, but that's totally fine. Like I like that there's so many different elements of a pipeline. And yeah, so I would do what I'm doing. As a minimalist and creator, do I struggle with perfectionism in my content and living space? If so, how do you work with perfectionism and stay productive? Well, tough question. I would say yes, absolutely, 100%. I deal with perfectionism and just kind of embracing it, I guess. I just go, well, that's how I am. Let me just figure out a way to do it efficiently. Like I'm setting up my room, I'm redoing this thing for this home theater, and I think it's going to be really awesome, but I can't stop thinking about it. So I draw it out, but when I'm doing this and I'm thinking about it and I'm trying to map stuff out, I make sure that I accomplish the important things in my life first, so that I can just sit there, and I sit there with no music. I just sit there in solitude and think and write and just kind of deal and figure it out, because I can do it perfect. I just, if I kind of have something playing in the background, or I'm also doing something and maybe I have something to do, it's just going to be a mess. So I just focus and I embrace it. Should I start a YouTube channel with my smartphone camera only, or save to actually get a camera? So on, about what do I have to do to start one. I actually made a video on this, and I made it on my phone. I will link that in the description because I actually hid that one and made it unlisted. But it's a good video, and it's specifically answering this question in a video form on my camera, and it's actually the first video I ever made. So make sure you watch that. All right, so that was the Q&A for this round. Really excited, and I really can't wait to talk about a lot of things I touched on today with these, with creative and podcasts and things like that. I'm really excited about where this YouTube channel is going and podcast stuff for this year. However, I just want to note that it doesn't mean that I'm going to be doing more. I'm actually probably going to do a little bit slower because I have so much other work that is far higher priority. So in my downtime, I don't want to be creating YouTube and media. I want to be working and learning on something else. And then this stuff, I'm going to be treating it as a hobby, as if like somebody goes skiing. No, I make a YouTube video. So that's where this is going to go. I just want to give that all out there. And yeah, until next time, subscribe and all that